I'm Dawn. Thank you so much for joining myself and Sports Singapore today for a session of yoga for stress relief. It is a very stressful period for many of us with a lot of uncertainty, a lot of worries, and a lot of adjustments getting used to. That doesn't just involve ourselves, but also, like myself, if you are a parent, you worry a lot for your family, your little ones also. So, there are some things that you can do for yourself. And in fact, if you are spending that time to take care of yourself, you'll find that you're better able to take care of your loved ones as well. So here are some simple things that you can do for yourself at home with yoga to be able to, be a stronger rock for your little ones, for your spouse, for your elderly parents as well. Take care of yourself and spend that time each day, each week. I would say every day if you can. Make time, right? All you're gonna need for today is a pair of yoga blocks if you have some, and if you don't, just use a stool, use a chair. That really is more for balance, okay? And then I also have here my favorite blend of essential oils. Make sure that you are using good essential oils. If you do not have any essential oils, that is also fine, right? Maybe you might want to diffuse some air freshener. Understand that air freshener oils are different from pure essential oils, okay? So you do not apply the air freshener oils onto your skin. Even with some essential oils, you need to dilute them, right? So make sure that it's something that you can actually apply directly onto your skin, or if not, diffuse it. The smell is something, the right smells are something that can help you to relieve stress and to help calm you down also. I have my yoga mat as well as a towel that can be used for cushioning for some of the movements that we'll be doing on kneeling positions for today. So minimize the discomfort using these tools, and you will have a more relaxing and stress relieving practice. Let's come into a seated position like I am in at this moment. We're going to start off with a short breathing practice first. Now, you can either be cross-legged seated like myself, or if seated cross-legged is difficult for you, you can come into a diamond leg sit. And if this is also uncomfortable for you with the blocks and maybe with a stool, you can position them to be a small little chair. What happens is when you elevate your hips higher than your feet, your knees, it can be more comfortable for those of you who have difficulty being seated cross-legged or just sitting down on the ground. And if you want to do it on the chair, by all means go ahead as well, right? You may want to start from there. So I'm going to be comfortably seated on my mat. For some of you, if you find that you're better off having your blocks cushioning the sides of your thighs to alleviate the pressure on the knees and your feet, go ahead. So many things that you can do, so many variations. So just find yourself seated, cross-legged. If you have essential oils like myself, here's the time for you to open it up. You don't have to apply too much at all, okay? And I'm going to put some on my palm. Now, for some scents, they can be more relaxing, and some scents, they can be very energizing. Choose wisely. If it is a morning practice, I do encourage more citrusy scents, but if if your calming and insomnia relief is also what you need, something like lavender, ylang ylang can be more calming and relaxing. Take a deep whiff of it after you've warmed the oil up between your hands. Deep breath. Exhale. We're going to do that one more time. A couple of things happening here. Deep breath in. And then settle your hands down on your thighs. Close your eyes. Focus your breath, focus your attention on your breath. So when we work with essential oils, like I said, a couple of things will happen. You become more attentive to the way that you breathe because your sense of smell has become heightened, right? It's become stimulated. The other thing is, as you take a deeper breath to inhale and breathe in all the goodness of your essential oils, you're also bringing in more oxygen into your system. You're consciously breathing more deeply. Sitting here for just one more breath, natural breathing. I'd like you to now keep your eyes closed if you can, or if you prefer to keep your eyes open, look at the tip of your nose. We're going to place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. We're going to try to feel the rise and the fall of both hands as you inhale and exhale. The thing is, unfortunately, for most of us, we tend to be shallow breathers. So the shoulders tend to rise and fall instead of the chest and the belly rising and falling. Our lung lobes reside around the belly region, the ribs, as well as the chest. In fact, it goes all the way up to our collarbones. All right. So I do need you to feel the movement around these two areas versus your shoulders going up and down. We're going to do that together for 5 deep breaths. All right. Seated up tall is going to help you to be able to breathe in more deeply. So inhale through the nose, belly and chest rise, and then exhale, belly and chest, hands on the belly and chest come closer towards your spine. Again. And exhale, not in a rush. For those of you who have stuck noses, inhale. Feel free to breathe through your mouth, but don't rush. And exhale. Let's do this together 2 more times. Inhale. I think it's my voice that's calming the doggo down. That's Chewy, by the way. One last time. Inhale. Every time I'm teaching, he's always there. And then exhale. Belly and chest melt closer towards your spine. Relax. Your hands back on your thighs. So this is the rate and depth of breath that you want to try to achieve and maintain as we go into the next several movements, right? I'd like you to come into a kneeling position first. So we're coming onto all fours with your palms resting lightly on your towel if you need the extra padding for cushioning. But if you are okay doing without your wrists resting on an additional cushioning, please position your shoulders below your, well, your shoulders are above your wrists, right? Your wrists are below your shoulders, your knees are hip width distance apart. And you're going to try to keep a micro bend in your elbows for those of you who tend to have hypermobility, okay? So we're going to keep our neck long on either side. And as you inhale, I'd like you to try to look up towards the ceiling, lift your chin up, and you should feel that stretch across the front side of your belly, your torso. And as you exhale, tuck your chin in towards your chest and look towards your stomach. Tailbone tries to point down as well. We're doing your cat-cows, and we're going to go for a few more rounds. Inhale, lift your gaze, lift your chin, point your tailbone up. And as you exhale, reverse that again. Cat stretch. Let's do this another 3 more times, okay? Inhale, looking up, trying to move at the pace of your breath. Exhale at the speed of your breath. So it is never too fast. Let's try to move more mindfully, okay? 2 more times. Inhale, arching your back and looking up. And exhale, rounding your back. What I like about this is how it helps to mobilize your spine. Inhale. Gets the spine moving, gets the muscles that surrounds it to become a bit more active. Exhale. And it also encourages you to breathe more deeply, to exhale more fully. Come back to the center. And then let's walk our hands towards the front. One big step. Before you settle your hips towards your heels. We're going to rest here in child's pose. Now, just quietly observe how your shoulders feel. And if your neck feels tight, if your shoulders feel tight, I would encourage you to take your hands back instead towards your feet, in the direction of your feet. You're going to have your palms facing up and just let your shoulders fall towards the ground. I'm resting my forehead down on the mat. Now, by breathing a certain way, like I'm encouraging you to, full breath in and full breath out, it helps to stimulate our parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of our fight and flight response. Holding it here, it is also very calming for the body. So both your breath and the pose that we're holding is actually very good for relieving stress. At the same time as you're closing your eyes here and potentially still being able to smell the essential oils, it can be very relaxing, right? We're going to hold it here for another 4 more deep, full breaths, allowing the forehead to rest down on the ground. So what this does here in child's pose is it's actually gently stretching your lower back, where many of us hold on to a lot of tightness and tension.
And when that happens, it can actually create mental stress for us as well. 2 more deep breaths here, okay? One more deep full breath. And just quietly observe what happens when you breathe in and out deeply and fully. Now, very slowly, start to roll yourselves up back into a kneeling position. And just let the blood slowly flow back down to the lower extremities. Okay, we're gonna come into the next pose now, right? So, like I said earlier, when you're in child's pose, it is very kind to the lower back, where a lot of us carry a lot of load, a lot of stress, literally a lot of stress, right? So, when you try to stretch that area out, it is actually very stress relieving. We're going to come into another pose now that's going to do the same thing for you as well. This is called your downward facing dog. He's so busy. All right. So once again, for those of you who do need the cushioning for your wrists, please go ahead and have your hands resting onto the towel. If you can do without it, I'm going to have you just press your palms slightly wider than the width of your shoulders. Tuck your toes and then go ahead and lift your hips up and back. But I want you to start off with your heels off the ground and your knees bent first. Now, some of you will not be able to stay here for long because of the upper body. Your chest might be tight, shoulders might be tight. You don't even have a flat back at this point. It's okay. Start from there. You're getting that spine stretch as your head pulls on one end of your spine. I'm deliberately keeping my knees bent here and my heels are off the ground. Some of us feel inclined to straighten the legs and press the feet flat. That is not important, okay? I want you to make sure that you're feeling that stretch along the length of your spine as well as the back of your legs. Now, for those of you who can maintain a long spine without rounding your back here, I want you to try to walk your feet back one baby step and then maybe straighten the legs out a little bit. The moment your back starts to round, you forget it. You bend your knees once again. Right? So you will probably still feel that stretch along the back of your legs. Right? So just see what happens the first few times you try this, and then gradually, as the tightness starts to go away with constant, consistent practice, it gets easier. At this point, maybe some of you are already down on your knees. It's okay. Just understand that eventually, as more tightness melts away with regular practice, you will be able to hold here for a lot longer. And when you do that, you can actually get more benefits out of this pose. That is, stretching the back of the legs, which many of us are very tight at, stretching the length of your spine, which all of us are very tight in. You're also getting an anti aging effect, getting more blood flow to obviously the upper extremities around the face, eyes, throat, your scalp included. At the same time, this is bone loading for the upper body, so, very good for those of you who are worried about osteoporosis. Hold it here for about 10 breaths in total. Like I said earlier, build it up gradually, right? You are not meant to do all these poses perfectly the first time you try. It takes time for you to get there, right? So, don't rush. Let change happen gradually. Let's stay here for another 2 more deep breaths. One more. And then very slowly start to lean your weight forwards, lower one knee down at a time, and come back briefly into that child's pose once again that we were at. You might want to bend your arms at the elbows if you choose to put your arms towards the front, or return back to have your hands towards the sides of your feet once again. One more breath here only. And then very slowly roll to come back up. And then just let the blood slowly flow back down to the lower extremities once again. All right, now we're going to go into the next pose, which is also similar to what you just did. It is an inversion, and again, it is also helping to relieve stress on the lower back. In fact, the whole length of your spine, as well as the hamstrings. Now, when the hamstrings are tight, the back of your thighs, they do negatively affect our low back. And like I mentioned earlier, okay, we do carry a lot of stress in that area, which is why these movements that we do today actually do help to target this area a lot, the lower back, right? Now we're going to come into a kneeling position first, right? Now step 1 foot forwards, press down on your thighs. And then as you step forwards with the other leg, stay low. I do not want you to come straight into a standing position. We're just going to dangle down here, right? So start off with your knees bent first. Look towards the space between your feet, or maybe look towards the wall behind if you are able to, right? Now, if this is a bit too much for you, you can always just rest your forearms against your thighs and just stay right here first. And that's okay, right? If you're all right, dangle your arms, dangle your head, dangle your spine. You might want to rest your hands here. You're not pushing into the ground, is not necessary. I'd rather just let my arms dangle here, and having the back of my palms resting on the floor actually makes me not feel inclined to push against the ground at all. You notice that my knees are bent. I want this position to be more relaxing for the spine. The moment I straighten my legs too much, I might find that, for most of you, right, your back will start to tense up. So bend your knees like what we did earlier for your downward facing dog. Only if you're okay do you start to straighten the legs and stay in your forward fold. But it should not feel so much like work for you. So keep the knees bent if you need to, right? Staying right here for 8 to 10 breaths as well. Like I said earlier, the stretch is happening along not just the back of the legs, but the length of the spine as well, as your head, that is about 7 to 9 kilos, pulls down on one end of your spine while your hips are anchoring the other end, right? So just let gravity work its magic on you, breath after breath. If you find that you're losing your balance, you can always just stand near a wall and just kind of hold onto it as well, right? Or you can have a chair in front, a stool, sorry, to hold on to if you're worried about losing your balance, right? Stay right here for just one more breath. And then very slowly, press your hands down lightly. Step one knee back. Hold it right here. So I'm going to stay quite low to the ground still, but I'm going to bring my towel towards the back. Next pose we have here is a low lunge, right? So it's also a pose that helps me to relieve tightness and stress around the lower spine, right? Which is again, area that we carry a lot of tightness, a lot of stress. So I'm going to now wiggle, wiggle, wiggle my front foot forwards. I will be able to stay here for a lot longer without stress because I've got that cushioning behind my knee. But wait, your blocks, or if you have two small little stools that you can use to help you with balancing, you're going to have them pretty close to towards the front, all right, of your mat, right? So I like you to wiggle your front foot towards the front as you shift your hips forwards and down. Lower the hips to the point where you can feel that stretch to the front of your hip for whichever leg is behind. So for most of you, you might find that you're just kind of like stuck halfway and that's it. You can't go down anymore. But having the blocks there will help you to be able to balance out here. If not, you tend to lean to one side because you can't grab hold of the floor, right? You can use a wall if you need to, or the chair, or the table. But if you find that you can go lower, walk your blocks closer towards the front. Let's just stay here for another 4 more breaths on each side. Now go ahead and notice how the stretch feels on one side compared to the other two, okay? It gives you an insight to which side feels tighter in your body. Excuse me, Chewy. All right, just ensure that your shoulders are not shrugging at this point. All right, hold it here for one more breath. And then very slowly, walk your blocks one step, press it down, and then slide your front foot back and rest your knee down beside the other leg, right? This time we're going to change, right? So step your other foot forwards, wiggle, 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 or you can always use your hand to guide it further forwards, and then walk your blocks forwards if you can. If you cannot, never mind. Like I told you, some of you need to just stop at the halfway mark first. That's your starting point. For those who are more flexible, please go ahead and sink your hips forwards and down. I highly recommend this for runners as well, okay, to help to balance out your training. It really helps to stretch a muscle that you use a lot in running, right? Your hip flexors. Hold it out here for another 5 more deep breaths, and quietly observe how you're breathing as well, right? Sometimes you tend to rush through the breaths. Yes, you hold it there for 8 breaths, but you probably stay for half the duration of somebody else who's breathing slow and deep. And remember, at the beginning of today's practice, I did mention to you that the depth of your breath, the way you breathe, is very important in helping to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of your fight and flight response. And then very slowly start to walk the blocks back. And then shift your hips back, walk the blocks back, shift your hips back, slide your left foot in. Take your hips back down onto the heels. And then if you want to sit on your blocks once again, please go ahead and do that. Take a seat once more, back to the same seated position that you were in at the beginning of today's short practice. Notice how your seated position feels right now. And if you still have the need to sit on a block, a short practice can make a huge difference. And when there's less tension in our joints, in our muscles, the energy, nutrients, fluids, blood, oxygen can travel more freely. The other thing that happens is detoxification. So the bad stuff can also leave the body optimally, right? So apart from just being able to help us to relieve tightness, tension, and stress, there are also other benefits that come along with the poses that we just did. So I do encourage all of you to try to do these poses every day, if not every other day, and notice the difference for yourselves with that consistent practice.
So after all those poses and exercises that we did, there are also some other things that you can incorporate into a yoga practice to make it a very stress-relieving one indeed. So with the breathing, we are going to make it a very smooth and deep one, a diaphragmatic breath. So when we say diaphragmatic breathing, we do really want you to be able to breathe deeper to the bigger lung lobes, where your diaphragm can actually, press down onto your internal organs, and gently on the exhale as you empty those lungs and your diaphragm lifts up once again to be able to relieve that pressure. So it becomes a massage, a gentle massage for your internal organs and your breathing muscles, a stimulation to your breathing muscles as well. That can have a very relaxing effect on the body if you do it at a correct pace. So do not rush through this. A deep breath is a deep breath, but when done forcefully and when done quickly, has a very different effect on our mind and our body altogether. Understand this, that the relationship between the mind and the body is so close that any pain and discomfort that you feel in your physical body is going to translate into stress and tension in your mental state. And similarly, any stress and tension that you feel mentally will also mean tension in the body. A very good example is when you have a headache. Your face tenses up. Your shoulders may start to tense up as well. Or when you have worry and fear and hurt, right? You think about things, your chest starts to cave in, right? You start to scrunch your shoulders up. You're trying to hide your heart, right? You start to curl into a ball. And this is very obvious in children especially. No filter, right? Okay, so yeah, a lot of the things that we go through mentally does show up in our physical body. So what can you do about it? Apart from the stretches and the movements that we do, and the restorative poses that we also take on to help our body to just, with the assistance of gravity, and by closing our eyes to take away the visual distractions that can help us to, be more present to our breathing, to, take away the visual distractions that can help us think a little less about what's going on, right? It helps you to tune in a lot better. The other thing you can do to help yourself is essential oils. Smell has a very profound effect on our mental state as well. And like I told you, the mental state has a very strong relationship with the physical state. So using something as simple as the right smells. Have you ever smelled the wrong smell and they make you so angry and then your whole body tenses up and you run away and your face looks angry as well? The right smells, on the contrary, can help you to relax, right? And just feel really much better overall, right? So if you suffer from anxiety, you suffer from stress, essential oils I find are very helpful and they can work quite quickly too. But do know that there is a difference between essential oils and air freshening oils, air fresheners, okay? Don't use air fresheners. A lot of them actually have alcohol in it, and it can actually cause you to become more stressed, right? It can the alcohol can be very sharp when you breathe it in, and it does give a shock to the nasal passages when you bring it in so close towards you as well. So essential oils, the right ones, the good ones, actually waft in through your nose, all right, very smoothly, very slowly. All right, so what I have right here is a blend, and with several different kinds of essential oils, they have different effects on our body as well. Peppermint, eucalyptus, citrusy smells, citrusy scents can be very energizing. All right, so you use it if you feel like you're gonna fall asleep and you just need a little something to perk you up. Those scents can help. What I have right here is great for the immune system, but I also find it's very relaxing for me. And those can be anything from lavender, ylang ylang, right? Even rose can be very relaxing for some people as well, right? So yeah, try out the different oils that are available, and see what's best for you, what scents you like, because some scents can put some people off, okay, and others just make you feel really so much better very quickly. So how much should you use? I just use like a tincture. I use a dropper just to make sure that I don't overdo it. Place a teensy weensy drop on your palm. It's so tiny you can't even see it, right? And then just make sure that you close it so it doesn't spill. And then you warm it up between your hands. You could be lying down, you can be sitting up to do this, you can be having your back up against a wall. Whatever it is, the smell is going to help you tune in more to your breathing. Take a deep breath. You notice you actually had to take a deeper breath. Let's do that one more time, all right? Warm it up. Take another deep breath. If you'd like to lie down, please go ahead and do that. If you prefer to sit up together with me, make sure that you're comfortable. You can always have your legs placed one in front of the other, or stacked up one in front of the other, or come into a diamond leg sit. Whatever you choose, close your eyes and just do a quick check on how you're feeling mentally, physically. Relax your shoulders. Let's take another 5 more deep breaths here together. Inhaling through the nose, like I said earlier, diaphragmatic breathing. So feel the deep breath go to the bigger lung lobes, and exhale fully. What you can do is also count your breathing. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, with a little bit of a pause. Exhale 3, 2, 1. Do it again 4 more times. Try to relax your shoulders, your facial muscles. I would also encourage you to use your tongue to push against the roof of your mouth ever so gently, because it will help you to open up the airways a bit more. So you breathe with a little bit more ease and less constriction. 3 more breaths here. Two more. One more. And then very slowly opening your eyes. Place your palms together once more. The oil is still there. Warm it up one more time. And take a deep breath. Notice your state of mind at this point compared to just a minute plus ago. It really doesn't take very long for you to make a positive change for yourself on a mental level, on a physical level, just by adding in little things like an essential oil or a short breathing practice. It helps you to reset yourself and take on the rest of the day with a much better mental state, a better you. I do hope you enjoyed today's practice of yoga for stress relief. I do hope that it helped you to relieve stress a lot more. And do look out for the other videos that I have as well with Sport Singapore. Everybody in the family has got some of these videos that you can try. In fact, try it as a family. You know, even if I say that it's pregnancy friendly, none of you need to be pregnant in order to try it. It's just that it's ideal. It's friendly for those who are pregnant. It's safe for everyone. Okay, so even the kids can come and try. All right. So thank you once again for joining me in Sports Singapore. I do hope to see you all again very soon. Everybody stay safe, stay active, stay healthy. Bye.